Hi everybody, thank you very much for being here. My name is Stefan Constantinescu and I represent University of Bucharest, Faculty of Geography. Professor Ioan Rus in front of you is the other author. He represents Pablo University Department of Geography. So, the purpose of this presentation is to show you an evolution of a rocky coast using both old maps and postcards, like a complementary resources. Our pilot study is focused on the Romanian sea cliff shore between Cape Media in the north and Cape Stivligurun in the south, or if you prefer, Vama Veche. Until the First World War, different authorities have developed many maps of the coast, but the scales were not suitable for a detailed analysis. Like in this example is Costa României. It's the first map of the Romanian littoral created entirely by the Romanian officers, especially Mr. Nicolae Ionescu Johnson. In the term of extent, the coast runs from north to the south, 80 kilometers, with a somewhat linear aspect. Depending on the morphology and the nature of morphodynamic processes, have established the following sectors: Cape Media, Constanța, Eforie, Costinești-Tatlacea, Mangalia, Vama Veche. Lagoon shore of Mamaia, quite spectacular, requires a separate approach and will not be part of this presentation. In the map of Constanța from 1881, created by Mr. Charles Hartley, chief engineer at the European Commission of the Danube, later becoming member of the Romanian Academy and known for everybody like the father of the Danube, we can notice how descriptive is the sea cliff. Few rocks in the base of the cliff and the aspect of an irregular waterline suggests the presence of a small, short platform. But only suggests, because we have no proof. If you have a postcard, even more recently than the map, you can find additional information. Another example is from Constanța, the same area, but using another postcard. So you'll see in the base a narrow, short platform. Now the boulevard became wider, and all this area is under the harbor of Constanța. So the individuality of media sector lies in the presence of 4 cliff capes separated by 3 wide bays, which from the north to south are Cape Buhaz, Cape Media, Cape Ivan, and Cape Clisarcic or Gargalâc. In Turkish, Gargalâc means raven, or in Romanian, corb. Maps using the analysis was planurile de tragere, shooting plans, Lambert-Cholesky projection. And of course, we try to use other different maps from the 60s and 80s in Gauss-Kruger projection. The last material, satellite images and aerophoto images from 2005. The morphology of the cliffs is strongly related to geological settings. Cape Clisarcic and Cape Ivan have been shaped within limestone and sandstone of Jurassic age, Platonian and Carovian, and Cape Media is composed of much older formation, the upper Proterozoic reaches in that area. It's the only one sector along the Romanian coastline south of Media which express accretional processes for the entire coast. Until 1916, an average of the ridge was 2 meters per year accretion. Between 60s and 80s, 2.2 meters per year, and from 80s until now, 3.2 meters. As you can see, the construction of Media Harbor, Media Port, interrupt the longshore sediment current and of course that we have operation right here. So we try to reconstruct the evolution using several profiles from 200 meters. So in this graph you see operation meters per year after 80s. Constanza, the evolution of the coastline around the city is closely related to the history of its development, especially after the Treaty of Paris. In the image from the upper left side, you can see the presence of cliffs with a high degree of instability, located in the east and northeast part of the Ovidiu Square. In order to provide access for the people to the beaches of Constanța, a perpendicular dike to the shore was constructed between 1930 and 1932, called in a shorter form the I pier. This image is from 1932, and it's very interesting because it reflects the construction of this pier. Between 1934 and 1940, a longitudinal pier was built at the beach Trei Papuci, Three Shoes, if you prefer. The reason why this pier was demolished between 1987 and 1988, it's still unknown. We find this beautiful picture with longitudinal pier, and maybe some persons that between the pier and the inshore, this water smelled not so good, and of course the dissolved oxygen in the water is small. So they destroyed this pier. Another map from 1931, created by Ionescu Dobrogeanu, could be completed using postcards from the same period. It's very easy to identify important buildings of the harbor or any other constructions. And we found this interesting postcard. It's very, very simple, with two beautiful flowers, nothing important. But the presence of water spring at the base of the cliffs and the clay horizon led to the collapse of the old streets of Cărămidar. On the night of January 1920, 1894, a portion of the cliff fell into the sea. So this postcard represents the landslide wave of the Cărămidar street, which was located right here. Another interesting sector with a lot of photography and postcard is Euphoria. From Greek, Ephor means surveillance, or a board of directors responsible for the governance of public institutions or charitable foundation. We start with this map from 1880s and 1884. It was very curious because now we know exactly the lake is called Tekirdyo. But the Romanian officers put this name, Tuzla Gyo. In Turkish, Tuzla means salty. And to the right, it's Băile Movila, the first Romanian resort on the littoral area. So, we discovered a very interesting postcard representing the Movila Hotel, and now it's called Hotel Park. I made this picture 2 years ago. Looks not so good. In 1899, a descendant of the Movileș family, a Moldavian family, built the first lakeside spa and hotel that took his name. These buildings represent the founding of the first resort in Dobrogea, originally known as the Băile Movila. Since 1920, the resort took the nickname of Queen Elizabeth of Romania, Carmen Silva. The name changed in 1950 to Vasile Raită, a symbol of the new order that occurred in the country during the communist era. Since 1962, the name has changed for the third time to Euphoria Sud and remains today. I think it's not an accident, it's not a coincidence. We are now in the amphitheater of Ulsan, Professor Rus discovered in the archives of Pablo University this beautiful picture of the Tekeldiol shore, created by Professor Brusan in 1924. It's quite difficult for us to geolocate because we don't have any landmarks or buildings, but we are thinking that could be in Eforia Sud. So I try to show you that in natural conditions, the sea cliff presents a vertical profile in the upper part and the natural debris in the base. So the main problem with this sector is in the central and southern part of the littoral barrier, with erosion rates more than 2 meters per year, especially after 80s. Two different maps from 60s and 80s. You'll see a lot of piers, a lot of dikes which appear between the 70s and 80s. The first engineering work started in 1957-1960 for the cliff stabilization, and in 1970 new hotels and restaurants were constructed, Splendid, Cosmos, etc. But this beautiful postcard with seawall protection, it's from that area. It's very useful for us when we try to reconstruct the volume of sediment accumulated in the base of the cliff. Bellona, it's an important hotel in Eforia. So a postcard from 1977 made it from the roof of the Bellona Hotel to the north. You'll see the cliff looks quite new. Some grass but no trees in that part. And of course the seawall in the base. From the same roof of the hotel to the south, we discover two postcards from 1976 and 1983. In 1924, the only constructions were represented by the railway and road, with little anthropogenic pressure. Now it's a lot of pressure, and the main erosional area is located right here. An aerial images from 2005 with red is shoreline from 1924. This is the area that I showed you previously. And of course, postcards from the interbellic period, a lot of touristic pressure on the Eforia beach. A beautiful photography from 1931 with Vela Movila and the Marine Casino. Known even like Neptune Casino, this building was finished in 1925, but had a short lifetime. Strongly affected by the winter storm, it was demolished in 1931. But later, you could find postcards even from 1940s with this building. Another beautiful photography from 1935 represents the cliff in natural condition. You see the same vertical profile, no trees, a natural debris with a secondary cutting level. It's an old landslide in the base. Starting from a postcard in 1936, I made this picture 2 years ago. This is the new casino. And I was impressed by this photography because in that part I show it's represented some engineering works, made it even from 30s for cliff stabilization. As you can see, the vegetation is bigger now. Human pressure increased after the 1990s, when new residential neighborhoods and holiday houses have been built in the northern part of Eforia. On the image from 1965, the cliff has no vegetation. The yellow is clearly visible, it's lost, as is the like of southern dike of the Constanza port. Now is the Constanza port, here, right here, and Agigea neighborhood to the north. An important role in cliff stabilization is played by the vegetation cover, especially by the tree density. In 1999, I started my PhD. It was finished in 2005. So I have photography from that period. In the last 10 years, you see that the vegetation is higher. But this beautiful postcard from 1977, and this photography that I made 2 years ago, suggests very good the previous assertion. Another example from the same area in the northern part of Eforia, Hotel Steaua de Mare. A comparison between 1971 and 2010, it's Lake Bellona and Hotel Europa. It's very interesting, but now in the central part you'll see reeds, a lot of reeds and tifa. That means we have some problems of clogging, reducing oxygen, and of course the depth of the lake decreases. A beautiful map with the southern part of Eforia, Tuzla lighthouse, and an important landslide to the north. But we have no other information about this landslide. From 1925, I discovered, this is the angle, a picture made it from the Tuzla lighthouse. As you can see, there are no trees, and this is the landslide. Now the situation looks in that way. It's another discussion about all the engineering works that start trying to stabilize the chaos. The next sector is Constantinescu. Constantinescu Lake, or Mancha Punar, in Turkish Punar means fountain, was historically a shallow water bed that has been progressively transformed into a lagoon by the longshore current action, which has led to the creation of a littoral barrier. To the south, you'll see some rocks in the base of the cliffs and a short platform. The main problem is in the central part of the barrier with erosion almost 3 meters per year. Some picture in the base, this is the short platform to the south, French Bay in that area, and Tuzla lighthouse is right here. This is the Cape Tuzla. 2002, 2004 and 2010 when they start engineering work. In 2005, it was an important flash flood. A lot of water coming from the west entering into the lake. In the same time, unfortunately, we have a storm from the sea. So the barrier was broke, and after that, in 2006, they started to construct a new marina here with a channel and increasing the depth of the lake now as, I don't know, 5 or 6 meters. I don't have enough time to make another bathymetry. And the main reason is because I don't like this shore now. Look to natural versus human-induced profile. These beautiful cliffs, vegetated in the base with a natural debris, and the aspect which now looks so ugly. In every winter we have a lot of problems with erosion because it's the same angle, the same profile, the same structure. And the last sector between Mangalia and Vama Veche. Mangalia, the name of Mangalia comes from Pangalia, which means the most beautiful area. So, using topographical maps and aerial image, we try to reconstruct the evolution of Mangalia harbor. It's a port finished in 1985 with a military function. Now, in that area, it's the industry. Of course, the longshore sediment current is interrupted by the presence of this pier. To the north, beautiful comparison between 1973 and 2010 in Jupiter. You'll see a high degree of density for trees. Another example from Capa Aurora. In that image, 1981-2010, you see the erosion along the Tatlajak Lake, Tatlajak barrier. And of course, this is Opal Hotel in Cap Aurora. And Lake Mangalia, as you can see, at the beginning it was a littoral barrier, no communication between the lake and the sea. And we found from this point a beautiful photography from 1937. So it's an accumulational area, of course, represented by the presence of this period. So to the south, between Toimai and Vama Veche, I want to insist about this graph. In natural regime, it was an operational coastline. Now, very intensive erosional processes, and especially the most affected area, it's here at the military unit. So, this is the military unit in Toimai. Look here to the trees, and behind the trees is a little house, a bunker from the Second World War. Now an image from 2006. They start to construct a pub, a restaurant over the bunker, and the house is quite visible here. And last year, intensive erosional processes. The rise is between 4, even 5 meters per year. The restaurants, and the main problem is represented by a direct contact between cliff, represented by loess and clay, and the water of the sea. Because in that area, the limestone, Sarmatian limestone, is below the water level. So usually, in this area, you can find water with a red color. And accelerated erosion is caused here by the direct contact that I said before. Another examples from the same area with a scale from the military unit 2001 and 2006. Other example between Toimai and Vama Veche, it's 5-year difference, but you see that area. I like very much this area because it remains in natural condition. So we are very happy to start this process. Finally, like a conclusion, it's a graph from 1924 to 1916, Constanța Harbor, Mangalia Harbor. You'll see in natural condition, this coastline expresses an accretional and of course an erosional comportment behavior with amplitude of 4 meters, -2, +2 meters. After that, the cliff coastline between Chemite and Vama Veche is strongly influenced by anthropogenic intervention. The development of three ports, Constanța, Midia and Mangalia, has resulted in a major change in sediment movement along the coast, with a tendency toward erosion after 80s. So between 60s and 80s, a lot of piers, dikes, jetties created this pulsating behavior. So accelerated erosion in that part. Of course, the processes could be correlated with North Atlantic oscillation. After 1980s, the coast is predominantly erosive. This fault is represented by a small accumulation area around the dike. So the presence of numerous piers constructed in 1980s has led to a pulsating shoreline behavior, with larger change in shoreline position compared to previous periods. In our opinion, if you try to understand better a coastline evolution, it's very good to have some complementary resources like old photographs and postcards. Thank you very much.